Apple just released a model that's beating OpenAI and Google at something neither of them optimized for, and it's about to reshape how AI actually works in your pocket. Now, before you think this is another hype cycle about some new AI model nobody needs, stick with me. This one actually matters because it solves a real problem that ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini all have the same blind spot on. And that problem is this. They're all built to be general-purpose assistants living in the cloud, which means they're great at answering random questions, but terrible at understanding the specific context of your actual life. Let me explain what ReaLM actually is first. ReaLM stands for Reference Resolution in Language Models. Sounds dry, I know, but the idea is actually elegant. Most AI models, when you ask them something, treat your question like it exists in a vacuum. They don't have real access to what's actually on your screen, what apps you're using, what you were just looking at, or what your device knows about you. They're playing guessing games. ReaLM changes that. It's specifically designed to understand references. When you say, "Send that to my mom," a normal AI model has to ask you questions or make assumptions. ReaLM can actually understand that refers to something specific in your context. It knows what's on your screen. It knows your contact list. It understands the actual situation you're in right now. Here's why that matters way more than it sounds. Apple's entire ecosystem is built on device intelligence. They have more direct access to personal context than OpenAI or Google do because they control the hardware. They know what apps you have, what messages you sent, what you were looking at 5 minutes ago. Most AI companies treat this as a privacy problem they need to work around. Apple is treating it as a feature they can actually build on. So ReaLM isn't just another language model competing on benchmark scores. It's specifically built to do something that cloud-first AI companies literally can't do as well. Understand your actual situation and give you answers that make sense in that specific context. That's the unfair advantage. Now, the reason this is winning against OpenAI and Google isn't because ReaLM is a better general-purpose model. It's not. OpenAI's stuff is still probably smarter at raw reasoning. But ReaLM is purpose-built for something that matters more in the real world. Understanding what you actually need right now, not what would be the most technically correct answer to your question in isolation. Let me give you a concrete example. You're reading an email about a meeting next Tuesday at 3 p.m. You ask your phone, "Is that time okay for me?" A cloud-based AI has no idea what email you're talking about, what that time refers to, or what your calendar looks like. It's useless. ReaLM, running on your device, understands the email is in your Mail app, knows your calendar, and can actually answer the question. It's not smarter in some abstract way. It's smarter about your actual life. That's the shift that's happening. The AI arms race for the last few years has been about who can build the biggest, most general model that works on any problem. But the next phase is about who can build the most useful model for the specific context of a person's life. And Apple, because of how they own the entire stack from silicon to software, is uniquely positioned to win that game. Google and OpenAI are still thinking like cloud companies. They're building models to run on their servers and send answers back to your phone. That's the architecture that works for them, and it's hard to change. Apple is building models that live on your device and understand the context that only your device has access to. Completely different game. The other thing that's clever about this, and the thing that actually explains why Apple can do this when nobody else really can, is privacy. ReaLM runs locally on your device. Your personal context never leaves your phone. That's not just a feature for privacy-conscious people. It's actually a technical advantage. Apple doesn't have to send your data anywhere. The model can be smaller and faster because it only needs to solve the problem of understanding your specific context, not every possible question a human could ask. So here's what's actually happening. Apple is quietly building an AI strategy that's fundamentally different from OpenAI and Google. They're not trying to build the smartest general-purpose AI. They're building the most useful AI for the specific job of understanding your life. And because they control the hardware and the software, they can access information about your context that no cloud-based AI company can touch. The irony is that this might actually make Siri and Apple's other AI features genuinely useful for the first time in years. Not because the model is smarter in some abstract sense, but because it's smart about the right things. It understands your actual situation. Now, this doesn't mean OpenAI and Google are doomed. They'll adapt. But it does mean the race isn't about who can build the biggest model anymore. It's about who can build the most useful model for the way people actually live. And that changes everything about how we should think about AI competition going forward. ReaLM is winning not because it's a better model on paper. It's winning because it's solving a different problem than everyone else. And that problem turns out to be the one that actually matters. That's the kind of move that wins markets, not just benchmarks. If you want to actually understand how AI is actually being built and deployed in the real world, not just the hype cycle, subscribe. I break down these kinds of shifts every few days. And this is exactly the kind of story that separates what's actually happening from what everyone's just talking about.